Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and you know what time of year it is. It's top 20 albums of 2022 time. So yeah, this year was a very good year for metal, like a really good. There's so many albums. I listened to so many albums this year. Like, there was just a lot of good releases. Um, and so it was hard to rank quite a few of them, you know. Um, and so with ranking, basically I go through and rank, majority of my favorite albums out of all of the hundreds of, I don't know how many I've listened to throughout the year. And then I actually rank them using some kind of musical criteria, including, vocals, lyrical content, production, originality, creativity and contrast, melody, harmony, tone, groove and catchiness, structure, songwriting, instrumentation, and album flow. But if you want some more information on how I rank the albums using those and what they actually mean, I'll link down below in the description, probably at the end of the description, my video from last year's 2021 top 20 albums, and at the start of that video I pretty much go through how I rank them. So if you want some more details on how I do that, go check that out before jumping into here. I don't think I want to say anything else, do I? Maybe my brain will think as we go along. But yeah, let's get jump into our top 20 albums of the year, and starting us off at number 20 we have In Terror with In Your Hands. Now I gave this a 7.6 out of 10, and this is a melodic death metal album. Honestly, this one kind of came out of nowhere, honestly. Yeah, it was surprising to me. I think it came out pretty late in the year, actually. But it's actually quite a well put together album. Let's have a look. Some things it did really well was their use, obviously, of melody and harmony. That was really good. And the structure and songwriting was also pretty damn solid. Yeah, I'd never heard of these guys before prior to this album or this year, but a solid melodic death album. Favorite song on the album? I'd probably have to go with Into the Light, although it's hard to choose a good song because they're all pretty solid. So yeah, solid stuff, guys, in Terror. And if you like your melodic death metal, go check that one out. Alright, number 19 we have Revocation with Nether Heaven, and I also gave this 7.6 out of 10. This is a really solid technical death metal album. I guess you could say tech death slash thrash. A lot of thrash influences in this album. A really good album from Revocation. Some solid riffs in there. Where is 7.6? Let me try and find in my list. Yeah, the creativity in some of the riffs that they put together was one of the highlights of the album for me. Some of the groove in the album was quite well done, and just the overall instrumentation was also really well done. A solid album combining tech death and thrash together. Favorite album on the record? Favorite song on the record? Ooh, I'd probably have to go with I don't know, it's another hard one because I'll do up a proper image post for my Instagram and stuff to post on my story feed and Facebook and all those socials, and I'll definitely have to make a good decision on my top two songs there. But I think Nihilistic Violence and God Forsaken are probably two of the ones that jump out to me. They're pretty good songs. Honestly, they're all good. Like, there's not really many bad songs on this album. They're all pretty solid, so it's hard to choose just one, but I'll I'll do that, and you'll see it on my social medias. So yeah. Oh, and if you're not following me on Instagram, it's just Robbo_reacts. Yeah, give me a follow. Appreciate it. Alright, that's number 19. Moving on to number 18 of the year, and we have Force with Titnus Inquisition, and that was, I gave it a 7.65 out of 10. Now, this is a thrash metal album. A really, really, really good thrash metal album, actually. Initially, I think this one came out a bit earlier in the year, and initially I thought it was, pretty solid, but I didn't think it would quite... I actually didn't think it would make the top 20, but it's actually quite a well put together thrash record. Some of the things they did really well on the album was the tone. Really, really great guitar tone. Just super... It just comes across really well. It's not hit and mix. It's not like overbearing. It's just this nice, hard-hitting guitar tone. All the instruments are pretty well done. The use of melody and harmony for thrash was really, really good. Yeah, favorite song on the album probably would have to be Exodus Freefall. I think that's a pretty solid song. Jungle Mangled also quite good, but yeah, Frontal Lobotomy also pretty solid. Really, really solid, kind of quick, in your face, straight to the point thrash album. So if you like thrash, go check out Titnus Inquisition by Forced. Alright, next we have, at number 17, we have Acephalix with Theothanatology. Had to read that one to make sure I pronounced it right. Maybe I'm still pronouncing it wrong. But these guys, death metal album, and I gave it, 7.7 out of 10. Yeah, really solid death metal album, man. They have some really, really cool riffs throughout the record. Let me find where oh, that's right at the bottom of this page. Yeah, production also quite solid. What else do they do really well? Excuse me. And again, always comes in threes. Just sorry about that. Groove. Really, really, really well composed groovy riffs on this album. Yeah, just a really catchy, fun death metal album. I guess you could almost it's a more of a thrashy death metal album, kind of a bit of old school death metal, but a really, really fun album. Favorite song on the record, probably either the technically title track, Theothanatologist, Godheads, or Abyssal. Pretty much the first 3 songs. Yeah, they're really good. Any of those, and you can't really go too wrong. They're probably my favourite tracks on the album. So yeah, go check that one out. If you're a fan of old school death metal, you will not regret it. Alright, we're up to number 16. And we have Malevolence with Malicious Intent. Now these guys are a hardcore / thrash band. I get a lot of thrash influences. Some people might say they're metalcore or deathcore. I feel they're more hardcore / thrash, and I gave this one a 7.8 out of 10. A solid record. I do like the fact that there's a few different influences on this record. It's not super stuck in a hole, but some really good things they did on the record. Let me find, where is it? Yeah, a lot of groovy riffs. That's really solid. Also, production overall was pretty good production. Yeah, they did a mix of hardcore groovy riffs, but with more kind of fast paced. Again, a bit of medical influences. Just it's an overall good kind of combination of a few different genres combined into a solid album. Favorite song on the record? It's a hard, maybe Karma. life sentence? Probably Karma. Yeah. I'm gonna go with Karma, but there's some pretty good songs on that record, so it's difficult to choose my favourite, but I'm gonna go with that. I'll go with Karma for my favourite on Malevolence Malicious Intent, so check that one out if you have not heard of it. Alright, moving on to number 15, and we have Surreption with Jord, and I gave this a 7.8 out of 10. This is a really, really, really well put together technical death metal album. Some good old fashioned tech death for you. One of the things I have to say, I think the production, let me see on my list, where is it? Yeah, production was outstanding. One of the best, I don't know if it's top 2 or top 3, but it's definitely up there out of the top 20 on production value. Like, production was really, really good at this album, on this album. All the instruments kind of cut through really clearly. Great separation, in your face. Yeah, some really cool instrumentation, really cool passages on this album. A really solid tech death album. You can't really go too wrong with it. Definitely check it out if you like death metal in general, especially if you like tech death. Favorite song on the album. I keep wanting to say record on the record or album on the record, which makes zero sense. Prophet. I'd probably go with Prophet. That's my favorite song. Maybe The Chasm? I don't know. Either way, a very, very good record. So check that one out if you're into tech death. Alright, number 14 of the year, we have Rune Lord with Doomsday Script, and I also gave this one a 7.8 out of 10. This is a heavy metal album. I think it may be the only heavy metal album on the list. I think so. We'll see. But yeah, the only heavy metal or traditional heavy metal album on in the top 20 this year. But this one was quite a surprise. It was released maybe like 2 weeks ago, middle December of somewhere, end of the year, which is a shocking time to release albums, because by the 1st of December, majority of people have done their albums of the year lists. And that's why I kind of try to leave it a little bit later. Luckily, and hopefully we'll be able to upload this video later today or tonight or tomorrow, and it'll be in before the end of 2022, which is awesome, because last year I was a bit late by a week. So yeah, but usually the last day of the year you don't get too many great albums, because who releases an album on the last day of the year anyway. But this album, this is, if you know Blazonstone, Cedric from Foz. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name in case I get it wrong, so I apologise, Cedric. I'm just going to call you Ced. But this, I think he did essentially all of the everything on this album apart from the lyrics and the vocals. I think he was brought in as kind of like a session, not a session, maybe a session, but he pretty much played all the instruments on this album. Someone else, whoever is the CEO or the original maker of the Rune Lord band, wrote the lyrics, and then he got a vocalist to sing. I think he did the 2015 Blazonstone album, this singer. But yeah, anyway, this is some of Cedric's best guitar work. This is a really, really good album. Let me find, it's on the second page, Rune Lord, where is it? There it is, yeah. Instrumentation, like, I think, and especially the use of melody and harmony in intertwining that with the actual riffs in the songs, but the fact of actually also the guitar solos too, really, really, really well done. Really, really well done guitar solos. Oh yes, that was the other thing too. There's actually some solid, heavier sections in this for a more traditional heavy metal record, but it just has some really, really cool groovy passages that are really well put together. It flows really well. yeah, if you're a fan of Blazing Stone, heavy metal, any of like, it's a cool album cover, man. If you just look at it, if you think you're a fan of it, definitely go check it out. It's a really great heavy metal album and probably the best one of the year because I don't think I have any more on this album, on this list. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, good job, guys, in Rune Lord and said. Thanks for a solid, fun heavy metal album. All right, moving on to number 13 of the year, we have I Am with Eternal Steel, 7.9 out of 10. And this is a really cool death metal slash hardcore record. Now, this one is filled with very, very, very fun riffs. Let me find where I wrote it down. Surely it's... No, it's not on this page. Oh no, it is. Oh yes, that's right. Guitar tone on this album. Woo! Really, really good. Really, really catchy. And just some really well put together riffs. Like just catchy stuff. Like you just want to headbang and break some things. Like it's a fun record. Production is also, I think, pretty solid. Comes across really nicely. Really good mix of hardcore and death metal. It's not too corey though. It's not old school death metal, but it's not super. It's kind of that, you know, that nice mix between the two. They do it really well. Favorite track on the record. Oh, actually, I forgot to say my favorite track for Rune Lord, and I'd have to go with Corrupt Midgard for Rune Lord Doomsday Script. Sorry, that was the last album. So favorite album for I Am. Sorry, we will go with Vicious. Was it Vicious Instinct? I'm pretty sure that was my favorite record. Just one song that I've like listened to just so much because it has amazing, amazing kind of riff work in it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Vicious Instinct. Or was it Straight into the Blade? I don't know. We'll go with Vicious Instinct. And I'm going to sneeze again. Nope. Yep. It'd be good if I could edit this out, but I'm going to be editing enough anyway. Alright, let's just move on. But yeah, really good work, guys, in I Am. And I was, unfortunately I missed out on seeing them this year. They played, I think they supported Thigh Art is Murder? I can't remember. It was a couple months ago in Brisbane. But yeah, would have been good to see them live. But yeah, next one. Alright, moving on to 12th best album of the year. We have Megadeth with The Sick, The Dying and The Dead. And this is Megadeth's return to form, in my opinion. Dystopia, their previous record, was actually pretty good too, but this is even better. I think it just has a bit more contrast, a bit more variation, a bit more ebbs and flows as A&P Reactions. Pedro from A&P, he loves to use those words, ebbs and flow. But I agree, this album has quite a different a very solid arrangement of variations on it. Where did I write? Megadeth, there it is. Yeah, really groovy riffs, instrumentation, solos, really done. And production on this album is actually one of the best productions Megadeth has probably ever had, I would say. It's definitely up there. Did I say what I ranked this? I don't think I did. Sorry, 8 out of 10. So yeah, solid album. Genre-wise, obviously thrash. If you don't know Megadeth thrash, then where you've been living under a rock. Favorite song, I would... favorite song... Honestly, Celibatant, We'll Be Back, and I actually quite like Junkie. It's a really catchy kind of riff. Yeah, okay. I don't know, man. They're pretty good songs. Dogs of Chernobyl is also a great song. Yeah, I'm going to have to decide when I do that post up later what two are my favourite, but yeah, those are some of my favourites. And good stuff from Megadeth. Quite an enjoyable album. yeah, go check it out if you haven't. What are you doing? Alright, moving on to number 11, and we have a folk metal album penetrating into the list with Ailstorm, the 7th rum of a 7th rum, and this is also, I gave it 8 out of 10. A really fun album. Obviously, if you know Ailstorm, they are known for their fun, catchy, kind of just carefree nature. But the actual structuring wise of majority of the songs of this album were actually really well done. Obviously, use of melody and harmony is also very good, and production on this album was actually also quite solid. I quite enjoyed listening to this. Favorite song would have to be Cannonball and McGowan's Expedition. Cannonball is just such a fun song. I sorry guys, just to do a little fixer-up to true of the camera because it was getting full. But what I was saying was that I saw Ailstorm live in November recently on their most recent 7th Rum tour, and that was the second time I seen them live, and yeah, Ailstorm were really good, but they didn't play Cannonball live, so I was a tiny bit disappointed because I wanted to hear that one live because I thought it would have been really fun to hear them play it live. But oh well, next time, Chris, you better be listening. Alright, let's move on to the top 10. The top 10 albums of the year. And coming in at number 10, we have Diablo with When All the Rivers Are Silent. Now this, I gave it 8.1 out of 10. And a really good album. You know, genre-wise, melodic death metal / groove metal. You could almost say progressive melodic death metal. A few kind of progressive elements to it, but very much melodic death and groove metal elements. Yeah, this one, production-wise, really good. Just the whole atmosphere this album gives you. Also, it's kind of started raining here, so hopefully it doesn't mess up the lighting in the video. So if I appear darker, maybe I'll try and fix it in post-editing. Or if it's not too bad, I'll just leave it. And yeah, that's the reason why it's dark, because the sun has half disappeared. But as I was saying, yeah, really good production. The atmosphere of the album, just the actual, the tone and the soundscape of all the instruments that they've used, they've chosen to use on this album, fit really well together. Really nice and crisp and clear. Great use of melody and harmony. Yeah, overall, really well done, put together album. Favorite track on the record probably would have to be Parathon and Grace Under Pressure and Jack of All Mistakes. But Parathon number 1, really sick riff from that song. But yeah, a lot of different things in this album. Has some heavier stuff, has some more kind of melodic kind of sat back, but still not clean. Like, it's still heavy, but it's just less in your face. But you know, really well done, put together album. And that brings us to number 9. We have The Halo Effect with Days of the Lost. This is also 8.1 out of 10. And yeah, the boys delivered, I think, with a band with the members that Days of the Lost has. I don't think you can go too wrong. There's a lot of hype around this album, and they delivered some really good melodic death metal composition on this album. As I said, yeah, melody and harmony, song structure, just some great, well put together stuff. If you're a fan of, you know, Old In Flames, just Swedish melodic death metal, just good to, just if you like melodic death metal and you haven't listened to this, please do. It's a great album. Favorite song on the record, I would probably have to give it probably Needless End is probably my favorite track on the record. Yeah. Shadow Mines is great too. A Truth Worth Dying For, also solid. Yeah, no, a great album, man. Go check it out. Good job, guys, in Days Are Lost. Keep it up. And, yeah, that brings us to number 8. And we have Truant with Through the Veil of Earthly Torment. And I rank this 8.3 out of 10. A really, really, really fun, catchy, groovy, well put together technical death metal record. Let me go on my wrist. I can't even talk today, man. List. People don't think I have a lisp or some shit because I can't pronounce words. This is what happens when you write so much. You rank over 40, 50 records and then you just get all in your head and all the names get mixed up. So I apologise. Truant. I think that was on this page. No. Actually, no, it was on the first page. Sorry. There it is. Yeah. Lots of good things with this record, man. First off, production, really well put together, really well clear sounding production. Tone, the guitars, even just like the drums, just everything is really crispy, really kind of forthcoming, but not too saturated or to the point where it's unpleasant. It sounds sick, and some really, really well put together, groovy, catchy riffs. Such a good record, and I'd like to see more people check it out. I have heard a little bit of people enjoying it, but I haven't seen it on too many top 20 lists, interestingly enough. But yeah, it's really good that it got to number 8 on my list. And favourite song, The Verdant Coil, I think, would have to be my... Or maybe Scathe of Branches, actually. The Last Hunt is also really good. Probably those, out of those three. Alright, I'll choose one or two when I post it up. But yeah, really good album, man. Go check that out, and you won't go wrong. Which leads us into number 7 of the year with Hypermass and their album Empyrean. Empyrean, I think I'm pronouncing that right. Maybe I'm not. But I gave this a 8.4 out of 10. A very, very, very good melodic death metal album. Everything is pretty damn good on this album. Some of the highlights to me, I would have to say the actual structure of the actual sections of the songs put together, really, really good. Another thing or two, I would have to say, where is it? I lost it. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Actual vocally is actually quite... what's the word? It's not super straightforward, not super... I guess not boring. It is the most simplistic way I can kind of describe it, is varying enough from a lot of death metal album that it keeps it interesting, vocally wise and also structurally, music wise. But also production is also very good in this album. Yeah, overall just a really cool melodic death album. Go check it out if you haven't heard of these guys. Favourite song on the record? Hive Mind, The Degenerate Strain, and probably Null and Void. Probably those three. Yeah. There's some good, really, really good riffs and passages and songwriting on this. So, if you like melodic death metal, definitely go out and check out Empyrean by Hypermass. Alright, getting up into the top 6 albums of the year now, and in number 6 we have Hellfuck with Diabolic Slaughter, 8.4 out of 10. Now, I didn't think a band with a swear word in the name would make the top 20 list of the year, but here we are, man. This is a epic thrash death record. Yeah, some sweet death thrash. Where did I this is over the page, definitely. Definitely over the page, this one. Is it? No. I swear this one was over the page. Maybe I'm just blind. No. It is on the first page. I lied. Okay. Production. Actually, surprisingly, production was one of the best things on this album. I think out of everything, it was the second highest rated out of an album flow. I think what works well is this album. I'm just looking at the track lengths. They're all relatively short. Like there's nothing over 3.5 minutes. Oh, barely. Pretty much everything's 3.5 minutes and below. Which obviously thrash death is very quick, very hard hitting, which is what you want, what I want from a death thrash record. But a lot of it can get a bit stale sometimes and kind of repeat itself, or they go too long and they get kind of a bit constant and a bit kind of stale, a bit boring. But this one is composed very well, where it doesn't do that. It hits hard. Every song has something to kind of add. They're all somewhat similar, but it has enough contrast between song structures and riffs, and the overall album length isn't too long that it actually is a very good, repeatable listen. Very fun, some really killer riffs. The album flows very well. Just, really solid album overall. So, if I've got to choose your favourite track on the record, I would probably have to go with it's I don't know. I can't choose a song. They're all so good. Maybe War Obsession, God in Flames, HMS Stops, HMSTOPS. My brain right now, I can't think of what that stands for, but yeah, man, just go check it out if you're a fan of old school 90s death metal, old school death metal, death thrash. Check it out. Killer album, and killer name too. Alright, let's go on to the fifth best album of the year. In number 5, we have Vermocracy with Age of Dysphoria, and I gave this an 8.5 out of 10. This kind of came out of nowhere too. Honestly, like, it was released later in the year, I think around September or end of September from memory, but initially I think I only listened to it maybe a couple of times, and I thought it was quite good. But then revisiting it for my rankings, I was taken aback by how good the quality of this album actually is. And so much so that it ended up in number 5 of the year. Some of the best things of this record would have to be, I would probably have to say, song structure and songwriting. Just some really well carved out, just some really well put together songs, and the album flows really well overall, but also from song to song, and the actual riffs in the songs themselves aren't kind of misplaced. Great production too, vocals really good, a fun kind of hard-hitting guitar tone. Yeah, man, definitely check it out if you're a melodic death metal fan. I think this one went under many people's radars and almost did mine. So hopefully putting it at number 5 will get the attention of some of you guys. Definitely go check it out. Go stream, buy if you like it. Favourite track of the album, probably World of Wounds. But they're all there's no bad songs. There's no bad song on this record. So I think I'll have to give it another quick listen and choose my favourite song when I post it up, because they're all good songs. Yeah, but World of Wounds is the one that sticks out to me right now, so I'm going to put that one to you guys. Alright, getting closer to number 1, we have in number 4, we have Necrophagus with In Chaos Ascend. Now this is a hard-hitting killer death metal album, and I gave this also an 8.5 out of 10. riffs for days. Also, I think one of the best things, I don't even look to remember this, is the bass sound on this album. And I think overall production, let me find, Necro, where is it? There it is. Yeah, production and tone overall, the actual sounds and the actual tone they get out of the guitars, and but especially bass. Just the way the bass is mixed is such a catchy kind of clunky, but not clunky in a good way, not clunky in a bad way. It's just catchy, well put together, really well. I love records where you can clearly hear the bass, and the bass helps this record so much. Provides a lot of that underlying groove that everything else builds on. Some great drum work too. Yeah, super killer album. Favorite track on the record would have to be surely Incase Ascend. It's just the riff in it. You'll understand when you hear it. It's killer. It's so good. Also, At Dawn, the Immolate is a very, very, very catchy, fun song too. So yeah, let's get into our top 3 of the year. And in third, we have Spirit World with Death Western, and I gave this a 8.8 out of 10. Oh man, such a fun album. This is a death metal / hardcore album. Killer. I loved it, man. Where is it on this? Is it on the first page? No. It's on the second page. Correct. Yeah. The groove and the songwriting on this album are top notch. Production too, killer. And I think I want to highlight actually one of my favourite things on this album is actually the guitar tone. And I believe they released a digital amp pack or something, because man, I probably will get it eventually, maybe when I get back into writing and playing music more. But it's just such a good, fun album. Even if you're not into death metal and hardcore, or kind of just riff-centric death metal and stuff with just kind of influences from here and there chucked in, I think it's hard to deny that this is a fun killer album. Like, it's just such a well put together album. It's killer, it's fun. Favorite track would have to be Ulcer, because it's got a sick riff. Purified and Violence, also very, very fun. But I also quite like a lot of the Western kind of atmospheres and almost like introductions to the album. Like the first track is just really fun, kind of gets you in that vibe. Then it hits you with this hard-hitting, just super crazy, just solid riffs, man. Really good production. Yeah, check it out. Spirit World, Death Western, you will not go wrong. You can't go wrong with this album. And a really cool album cover by James Bolsema. Apologies, James, if I pronounce that terribly. But yeah, go check it out, man. You cannot go wrong with this. Alright, number 2, we have High Command with Eclipse of the Dual Moons. And I gave this 8.9 out of 10. This is a really, really, really solid thrash metal album. Yes, the best thrash metal album of the year. Obviously, number 2. No, it's just production-wise, killer. Some of the actual contrasting elements and the creativeness that they put into thrash, because it's all, I mean, you can class it, some people class it as thrash, that's crossover, but it has enough kind of nuance that's not super straightforward. It's somewhat creative in the fact that song structures is not typically always 2 to 3 minutes hard-hitting thrash. Like, it is hard-hitting thrash, but there's some songs on here that are like 7 minutes long, but they don't feel 7 minutes long because of how they're actually how the elements are implemented. What else was outstanding? Groove. It's just the choice of actually how they put the riffs together. Crazy catchy, crazy fun. and the album flows amazingly well. Favorite track on the record would have to be probably Siege Warfare, which is, I think, the shortest song on the record. Just happens to be my favorite. But yeah, man, killer thrash record. Definitely go listen to that one if you haven't, because you are missing out. Go check it out. High Command, Eclipse of the Jewel Moons. Second best album of the year. Which brings us to now, finally, number one. The best album of the year, in my opinion. We have Jungle Rot, A Call to Arms. I give this a 9 out of 10. And obviously, you gotta say I'm slightly biased with having a Jungle Rot poster in the room. And I could argue that, yes, I'm a bit biased. But again, I've tried to rank all these albums with criteria somewhat objectively. Again, everything in music is still somewhat subjective. But, yeah, it's just a very, very well put together album. And what did I want to say mostly on this album? Because it has a lot of cool different little things in it that make it, in my opinion, the best record of the year. Production-wise, there technically are some parts of albums on this list that have better production, but the reason why I really like the production on this album is because of the separation between instruments. Some other productions is really kind of loud and hard-hitting, which I do like, but sometimes you lose the separation between instruments, and sometimes the rawness gets a bit too much by the time of the end of the album. Whereas this album has a lot of replayability. You don't get bored of hearing it over and over and over because of that separation. Everything is clear to hear. This is what I really like about the production on this album. Lyrically too. Sorry guys, the camera did a little thing again, and I was close to finishing, but it's alright, we'll continue this little end bit. As I was saying, lyrically, A Call to Arms actually is very, very, I guess you could say thought-provoking. I mean, it depends on your perspective on things, but I think a lot of it in terms of society, societal values, and the way we're going is touched on in this album. And I just really like those topics and the fact that they're mentioned. Yeah, so I think that's another really good point of this album. And the album flows together so well. I mean, the groove and catchiness is a thing by itself. Like, it's top notch. I don't think you'll find a band that grooves harder or grooves better than Jungle Rot. But the actual album flow, there is no bad. The thing is, you can find, there's been a lot of good albums this year that have a lot of good songs, but albums that have no bad songs, there's not too many of them, and this is one of them, and that's why it's also at the top of the list, or why it has been at the top of the list, because it just, across the board of the qualities that I rank and I like in my music, it was at the top. So let's go favorite track on the album. I have to go with Beyond the Grave. Just a really, really well put together track. Some fun melodic stuff in there. You like melodic? It's death metal. Old school death metal has, yes, every music has melody, and this just implements it really well. As in, it doesn't come off like it's clean or soft or not death metal. It is death metal done very well with some cool little creative different things, some cool instrumental techniques, and overall just a fun, very good, repeatable listen. And yeah, it's the best album, my best album of 2022. So with that, I'm gonna leave you guys, and hopefully you guys found some new bands and new records to check out. Actually, I'm gonna give you a challenge. If there's someone who has listened to every single one of these albums on my list, let me know below, and I will give you a prize or a present, or DM me on Instagram. But you gotta prove it. You gotta prove that you have. Actually, I don't really care. Just tell me. But honestly, give me your thoughts on all these albums. Let me know what bands sound really good to you that you haven't checked out. Let me know if any of these top 20 are in your top 20, because a lot of these I have not been seeing in top 20 lists, which is unfortunate because they're really cool albums. But it's also good because, again, it gives a lot of people a chance to check out new records and new albums, which is super cool. And again, everybody has slightly different tastes, which is fine. I have seen a lot of Hypermass love in a couple of metal groups that I'm in, which is really cool. And again, that one was in my list. But yeah, overall, a very, very good year for metal. So let me know what you think down below. Yeah, have a happy, fun, and safe new year. And I'll see you in 2023. Stay metal.